hear you if you go off.
But if you go live, I'm in it, right?
Well, it's live now. So hi guys, we're just having a little bit of like technical difficulty. So we're changing things up. So if you can give us a few minutes, but we are live on YouTube and Facebook right now. All right, I'm just trying to get my camera set up. It just And for those rewatching, you're probably going to have to fast forward just a few minutes while we get set up here. We had to switch out last second, so that's why we're doing this. I'm just waiting for my camera to switch over and then we can get started.
Got 7 people. Hi, everybody.
Hi. All right, the weird thing too, okay, I'm sorry guys. Today it's so crazy. Can you guys send me a chat just so that I can see the comments? Okay.
Salty Nikki's here. Kayla.
Hi, Kayla. And you can hear us okay? Oh, there, fine.
Oh, you got it.
Okay. I have a fan going on in here too, so let me know if that sound, if you can hear it, and if you can, I'll go turn it off.
I could initially, but now I don't.
Okay. All right, so
All right,
so
popping
today
on.
is just me, so yeah.
Have fun, everybody.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am so sorry that we had that delay. I was in the other one. There was just something weird going on with StreamYard. So we are, opening it up today to Facebook and also YouTube. So if you're joining and you want the files, you can go to the uselesscrafter.com. And on there is the link to Pitch Perfect. So Pitch Perfect is a workshop that has pre-recorded tutorials. So in Design Space, so even if you're using Silhouette, what we're doing is because you're working with SVG files, the changes that I'm doing in Design Space would still make sense for the Silhouette application. And we're just kind of like sizing things and maybe adding a name. And so it's definitely still very relevant. And then if you're catching this and you're not catching it, during the live, that's okay too, because it's recorded and you're gonna see this. So the workshop is still good as is. So, all right, today I'm gonna show you this little guy right here. So stinking cute. So it's a cake topper. And I feel like it's the first time that we've seen it like this. So this hat is the base of the cake topper. And then let me switch this over just so that you can see it a little bit better right now. All right. So we've got it's about 6 inches or so this way and also in height, I believe. Actually, let me just double check. The cake topper itself, well, actually, if you do the whole thing, it's about 9 inches high from top to bottom. So we're doing a little hat, and then we've got our regular cake topper. I kept the cake topper. Normally, this part would be like more elaborate. In my style, it's more elaborate. But I kept it a little bit more simple because it's sitting on a hat, and it's just a very cool cake topper. There's a couple different ways. So I did not, on the bottom, I didn't poke a hole or anything. It's just the straw is on the inside to connect this cake topper with the second portion of the cake topper. Now, I was thinking in my head all the different ways that you could do this. If you were to put it on a cake, what I think I would do is I would add a piece of cardboard here so that the hat kind of just sits right on top of the cardboard, like you would in between layers or something. If you had like a double layered cake, you know how they usually have that little cardboard in the middle. So you could do that here, and then the hat would sit on top of the cardboard but not touching the cake. So you could take it off later and everything would still be nice and clean. And then the other thing that I was thinking about today is if you got a really long stick, it can go through here and then you can push it down on the cake because this itself is very light. So I think that you could, if you glued it on, it could stay atop the cake. So just a couple options. I mean, if you want this to continue to stay as like a party favor box, then I would do the cardboard layer right below it and have this sit on top of it. The other thing that you could do because even with the cardboard, if you're not careful, you might get some frosting here and there. Maybe what I would do is cut an outline of acrylic so that it sits on top of the acrylic. So, all right, I see some questions coming in. Hi, Ashley. Okay, so Ashley's coming in. Love Ashley. She's been around for a long time with me. Okay, so it sounds like you did not buy Pitch Perfect. So if you haven't bought it, then you don't have the files, but you can watch me put this together today. That's what we're doing. Um, and yes, you can still buy it. You can just go to theuselesscrafter.com, get the files. I mean, I love the files here. I'm not, like I'm new to softball. My daughter, recently started softball. She's done I don't know, like 2 seasons, 3 seasons. But I never played it as a kid. I'm not into it. I only like baseball highlights. I can't even watch a baseball game. So this wasn't like I didn't think I would go and do a whole theme on this, but I've seen so many people do it. So even before we did this portion of the workshop, the files are super easy to use. Of course, I'm using Kayla as my designer from the Salty Yankee, and so her files were just. I think Nicole. Nicole might be on. I saw her join earlier, but she's the one that did that whole set for her daughter's softball team, and she did it without seeing the assembly portion. So Mercedes, you did it too. I can't remember. Okay, I saw so many pictures and I can't remember each person, but I just love it, and I think it's great for ongoing. Like I don't know, you never know, and just all the files, the fonts, all of that. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. All right, so let's get started. I think the first thing that I'm going to do is let me switch the screen so that you can see my desktop a little bit better. Okay. And I'm just going to make sure that you can continue. All right. It's been a while since I went live and done this StreamYard thing. So you'll have to excuse when we started off all crazy. That was not my fault. I don't know what happened. Okay. So this is what we're doing. You can see it this way. We're going to assemble this right now. This is separate by itself. You can, okay, here's the thing. The SVG file is the hat by itself and the cake topper by itself. So these can be two separate things, or you can combine them. So right now we're going to put together the cake topper, and it's going to be its own thing. So I'm going to leave that here on this side like so, just to kind of give us. All right. And then what I did was, it's so funny. My cousin, my first cousin, she's like 6 months younger than I am, and she has her son Hobby. And when she saw this, she's like, "Can I make a request? And can you do the boy version for Hobby?" So he is an all-star player, and his colors are orange. And actually, I'm not even sure. The picture that I saw, I'm guessing that the colors would be orange and black because he had white in his uniform. So, all right. So this first layer, because Hobby Air there are a lot of thin parts to it, and I want to make sure you can see it. There are a lot of thin parts. Whenever there are thin parts, I do layers so that I can have multiple layers later. But this first one, whenever there's thin parts to it, just to make it easier on yourself, I just glue it flat to my offset. You can, be extra. I'm always a fan of being extra, but I'm also a fan of not driving myself totally crazy. So in this case, this is not the right pair of tweezers. Let me switch over. All right, I'm gonna use these tweezers. Okay. And I'm just using Barely Art glue. And you can see how thin the precision tip is, which is one of the many reasons why I love using Barely Art glue. All right, so we're going to get this down. And then this is one of the fonts that came with the workshop, which I love, because if you think about how the R is and this little banner that goes with it, some of the other fonts that are available out there, it depends on the letters. Not every letter works with the banner. So one of the things that I really love about the font that we provided with this workshop is that every lowercase letter has a banner attached to it. So it has the lowercase letter and then the letter with the banner so that you know it's going to look good and you know that it works. So, all right, so I put that down and then we've got the little dot on the I. And let me see, where's my little, all right, I'm going to use this. It's the Pick Me Up and it's got that little putty on the end. So sometimes I don't use the tweezers because I feel like you can poke and sort of ruin the cardstock a little bit. Probably no one else would notice, but sometimes I see that little crinkle and it bothers me. So I like having this silly putty on the edge over here. This is the silhouette one. Everyone turned me onto this, like all my crafty friends. I was using the We Are Memory Keepers one, or We Are Memory Makers Keepers. I can't remember, but I was using that one and the green one, and everyone said this one was a little bit better, and I will have to agree. It is better, so I have that now. All right, so we've got this. Now going into the additional layers, I am going to now, because these are thicker, it's a lot easier to add the cubies, and I am using cubies from Barely Art. All my cardstock and the glue can be found on 12 by 12 cardstock shops. So, and I recently visited there. So I don't know if you guys saw that reel, but it was very cool to see a paper workshop. Um, they like cut their paper there. They get them in like big stacks. It was a lot of fun. And it was really nice to see how they run their small business. Super, super cool. So yeah, so if you are new and you haven't, and you're just here watching the live, the workshop also comes with a very detailed spreadsheet that lists each project and all the colors that I'm using. I have not gone back though, actually, now that we're talking about it, I have not gone back to add the colors that I'm using for the baseball version. So I will add that. Right now, I only have all the colors listed for all the hot pink and yellow, that we use for the softball version. So here is the first thing. Now, I use the 1/8 of an inch QB. So because I know I'm going to do a double layer, so I don't want to add too much unless that was my only layer. Then I'll go with the 1/4 of an inch. I mean, I don't know. I've got like a whole decision tree on what I use, which QBs and stuff. So, and that's something that is, I think, a personal preference. It's the kind of look that you want to go for. So I'm going to leave that up to you, but I am using the 1/8 of an inch QBs right now. So with QBs, and I've talked about this before, these are very different from the Dollar Tree. They're super, super sticky. And so the only time that I reinforce it with glue is when it's going onto glitter cardstock, because glitter cardstock has that kind of, like glitter dust, or I don't know whatever you want to call it. So I just always add a little bit of glue. But unlike the Dollar Tree glue or the Dollar Tree foam tape, where I double up no matter what I put it on. You never know which one is sticky, like which batch. Some batches are like really sticky and some just aren't. All right, let's see. Hello, everyone. Hi, Gina and Paula. Thank you for joining. Okay, so here it is. Just minimal, a little bit of layers. All right. The other thing that I like to do with my cake toppers is I do always like to grab all the elements and weld them together. So this kind of helps me, here are the bats. We did a print then cut with the bats. And that's the other thing with this workshop. We have so many print then cut files ready to go for you, but we gave them to you in the SVG version so that you can change your colors before you flatten them. And that's kind of important. Like, not all bats are this color. I mean, when your kids start to play, or like when you get orders of mamas who are very specific with the color bats, with the color hats, like all of that stuff. A lot of times with PNG files or JPEGs, you get what you get. You can't make any changes to it, right? But here we're giving it to you as an SVG file. So when we say we give you 5 SVG projects, you actually get way more than that, because all the images, all the little things that you can add to it are all SVG files as well. And the way we're doing it is, while the lives are going on, the price will remain the same at $29. But after the workshop is done, we still sell the workshop, because all the tutorials are available, all the files, the materials and all that, but the price goes up. So here's your chance to get it before we do that. All right. Why I like to grab all of this stuff and weld it is because I can start to mess around and recreate it like this, or I can already have like a little map. So on this one, because this is pretty big, I think on the original one, I also put foam on the back, foam tape, the cubies. But I like having, like I said, I just like having a roadmap. It's not that big of a deal. You can create it without welding everything. But the other thing is, not only does it give you the little roadmap, it also helps make the cake topper sturdier, because you've got a whole back, and then you're going to put the straw in between, or the acrylic cake topper stick that everyone's talking about these days. And then you can have another layer, so whatever stick you're using will be covered, so it looks cleaner. But not only does it look cleaner, it will give you a stronger cake topper, so you're not going to have it, it's not going to be flimsy, it's not going to bend over or have like any really bend. So it'll be nice and strong for you. It can go through a lot. All right. So on this side, this is okay. So for me, because we put 1/8 of an inch cubies below here, if we're going to do it on this one, I would want to make this higher, and I would use the 1/4 of an inch. So the point, the way thicker cubies on this one. So on this one, I'm only going to do it on the top and the bottom. I'm going to avoid this middle section because it already has cubies right there. And so I really want to hit just the 1/4 of an inch where it's sitting flat on the black, if that makes sense. All right, let me move this. I feel like sometimes I'm off screen without meaning to be, and I want to make sure. All right, because we have the foam tape here, right? So this is already up at 1/8 of an inch. So I need to make sure, if I'm trying to balance it out and I'm using a 1/4 of an inch cubies here, I want to make sure I'm putting the 1/4 of an inch cubies where there aren't any other cubies. So I'm going to do it here at the edge, right? And here at the top. So top and bottom. And so now you've got it sitting. So it makes sense. All right, so we've got this. Let's look at the ball. All right. So the reason why I cut double the amount of the strips is, you never know when you get a clean cut or not. This time, of course, I did, twice the amount, and I didn't have any issues. And sometimes I do, and you just never know. So these things are so small. I always do try to cut a little bit more, just so that I don't have to go back. If the cut gets ruined, I don't want to have to go back and recut the whole process. So, all right, it looks like this. Pretty easy, right? I'm just eyeballing it. Just flip it over, and I love Barely Art glue for this. It's super thin, and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here. If you're new to Barely Art glue, and I would say glue in general for all these cardstock projects, a little bit is better than a lot. With a lot, you're going to get warping of your paper, and it's just unnecessary, especially something this delicate. You really actually don't need that much glue. It's not going anywhere. There's enough glue on there, it's going to stick. All right. And you don't have to hit every little square inch of this one. It's small, and it's light. It's going to stay glued. When it's even thinner than this, I'll give you a tip that I really like to use. I will put a lot of glue down like this, and I will just dab it down. So just the pieces, where you actually have stuff, you get just enough glue, and it goes down really well. All right. It only takes a couple seconds for it to dry. So while it's drying, I do like to press it all down to make sure that all the edges are out and nothing's going to curl up on me. I know my Barely Art glue fairly well. I know it's not, but I also want to make sure it just dries flat. And it only takes a couple seconds and we're done. So here is the ball. And so let's start layering this little cake topper. So with this cake topper, I'm going to add, I guess I want to add a little bit here. So we have all the different layers, right? If you really want to be perfect here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add different layers of, of foam, of cubies. You can do 1/8 of an inch here, and then 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch if you really want to make it balanced. But to be honest, with this being the way it is, I could just do right in the middle. And this will freak some people out because this is the only piece that I'm going to use. I'm going to put 1/4 of an inch there, and I'm just going to put, I'm sorry, 1/8 of an inch there and 1/4 of an inch top and bottom right here. And this, even if it's not sitting, it's not going to be completely flat and perfect, but you're not going to notice it. I'm not going to I'm not going to make sure this is perfectly balanced because no one will see. Okay. All right, I'm going to put this down, and that is truly going to be enough to keep this ball balanced. I promise it is. All right, so there you have that. Now on this one, I'm going to lift this up a little bit more and put quite a few cubies in the middle. I'm just going to do 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to do the middle-sized one. How are you guys doing? I don't see a lot of comments. I see that you guys are on though, so that's all good. Okay. And this will be for all members of Pitch Perfect. This will be available for replay later. So if you didn't cut it already and you just need the instructions while you're doing it later, it will be available to you on the members page. Okay. All right, so there you have it. I've got my glue gun. I'm going to use this. I am using, because it fits with the colors that we're using, I'm using the black and white straws. These are on Amazon. If you want to make it stronger, if you feel like you're worried about how strong this straw is, sometimes when I feel the straws, and again, some of these straws you can get at the Dollar Tree, they do feel really soft and like can bend easily. This one feels pretty thick, but you can always add an acrylic stick underneath, any kind of stick that fits in here. This is going to be a little bit long, so you can just break this one, which I usually have a pair of scissors that I will cut with, but right now I don't have it right next to me. But all I would do is, so that the acrylic stick doesn't move, I just put a little bit of hot glue on one end and put the acrylic stick right up to the edge. And that's going to be enough to keep it there so that it doesn't move on you. And if you wanted to, if you're worried about that, you can start by putting a little bit of glue up here, a little bit of glue at the bottom, and then stick the acrylic stick in. All right. Okay, so we've got that. And then now what I'd like to do is, because I'm going to use the ball, and just look at the ball to line this up on my grid. So I always have this grid down, and my ball is basically like between the bats is 1 inch. So my straw, I'm going to put it right in the middle of my square. And that way I know it's going to be straight, and I always measure it like that. So I'm going to put this down. Knowing too, I'm not worried about what my straw and the glue looks like. I only want to make sure right now because, the hot glue gun dries kind of quickly. So I'm just doing the bottom. Then now what I'm going to do is I do like to put um, foamies, cubies on the side right here so that my whole cake topper has a little bit more balance than just balancing on the straw itself. So that way it just has a sort of like a little support system going on. So, all right, let's do this. Debbie, happy Friday Eve. Yep, you bet. I cannot wait. Okay. So I'm going to take these out. And then what I like to do with the straw is now that this is in, and then I know all of this is going to be covered with another layer of the whole cake topper, oops, the whole cake topper welded. I'm not worried about what this middle looks like. So I'm going to make sure that my straw isn't going anywhere. This is a good time to now add glue on the sides because earlier that initial hot glue gun run was just to make sure that my straw is on there and it's straight and it's not going to move. Now I want to really reinforce it. Okay, so we've got our cubies, so that has adhesive. And now I'm going to run the glue on the actual straw. And then just line this up. So if you're into, simple cake toppers, you've got one. This in itself is, I think it's pretty cute. And then now we're going to do the hat. So let me move all this stuff out of the way. This hat, I love it. So it opens up. It can be a party favor box. And then if you haven't seen it and you didn't read my newsletter, because my newsletter, I think we posted a picture of Nicole's project where she did, I don't know how many she did, but she did that turquoise and black and white color. It was gorgeous and I loved it. All right, let me go get our pieces. Okay. So I was inspired by how Nicole did hers. So I still had to do the orange, but I did the black and the white the way she did it. So let's look at all our pieces. So, I mean, things start to look really obvious where they go, right? I'm going to move all the little details out, and we're just going to do the hat right now. So let's build the white pieces first. I'm just going to move all these, separate this out. So we've got our orange pieces. That's the very decorative pieces. This is obviously the top of our hat. And here's like the base, right? All right, so let's separate out all these pieces. And normally I feel like I have a bigger space, but I've got my camera really close because I wanted you guys to have a good view of this. But then it just means I'm working with a very small space. All right, so let's look at this base first. You've got your cut lines. So you want to just fold wherever you have cut lines. And when I'm folding, I do like to fold back and forth because it's the only time that you can. And I just feel like I get a better shape when I do it, when I fold it both ways. And then anywhere that you see the tab, that's like your connector tab. So it is actually very intuitive on how to put this together. But it's so fun to craft together. All right. And today I didn't have a co-host, but the rest of the projects we will have two co-hosts actually. I believe Jen is available for the next 3 projects and Kia is available for the next 2 projects. I did ask them to do something different, than what they saw. So either you're going to have, at the very least, you're going to have different colors. So I'm excited about that. All right, I'm going to move this just a little bit further too, because I'm just worried that there are times when I'm not on the screen for you guys. Okay. All right, so let's fold these things. I'm going to do the tabs first because I want the tabs to come up, and then I'm going to fold this in, and that's just to make it sturdier. All right, so let's do this. And while you're doing this, so every time I'm doing 3D projects and I'm gluing, and this is such a small piece that my hand can hold it, I like to lift it up so that I can see from the outside that I am matched up to where I'm supposed to be. Sometimes when you're doing it like this, it looks like you're matched up, but this is just an extra way to see it. And so like you can see it's, totally lined up. And you only have to hold it for a couple seconds and then it's good to go. It dries quickly. Some people like to use the hot glue gun. Um, I, you know, I do. It just depends on the day. Sometimes I use my hot glue gun, but for the most part, I do like using Barely Art glue because I feel like my glue gun doesn't give me enough time to make any adjustments. And I'm still at the point where even if it lines up perfectly, I still make a little, like, I'm always confirming. I'm just that type of person. So I'm that type of person in real life, and it translates to how I craft. So, oops, let me move this out of the way. Okay, we're going to do this side. I am curious though, for those that are members, do you like the option of being able to stream from Facebook and YouTube so that you can watch it wherever you like to? And then of course it won't be available for replay for non-members. Just let me know if you have any preference. Okay, we're almost there. And see, like even then, like I was messing around with the tabs. I feel like if I was doing it with hot glue, it would have dried on me. And then the other thing is, if you're using hot glue, you want to make sure that it's very even as when you're applying it, because you don't want any lumps too. If you don't get there in time to smush out the glue, you may have some lumps. And this is a party box where like you're inserting things. So you just want to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. When you're on your last one, you want to tuck this in and then, glue this side, and then we'll glue the other one, the other piece afterwards. And in case you're wondering, and it wasn't clear, all of these files you can use and you can make them and sell them. You can't sell the file itself, but you can sell the finished project. So, these are meant, one way of using it is when you buy the workshop, is that you can sell this to a customer who wants a softball or a baseball theme, and you can make a cake topper, you can make a banner, you can do all those things with all the files that come with this. You can do it exactly like the way we're doing it, which you have my blessing, and it makes me so happy when I see that you guys like it enough to recreate it exactly as is, or you can change it up. And that is all. We're just here for inspiration and to get you guys excited about doing this type of project. It's fun to come up with the ideas. So that's the scoop. Okay, so this is in. Now you've got your beautiful shape, right? And look at how clean this is. This is the beauty of Kayla's files. So these you're just going to press down. We're going to do one tab at a time and glue it down. So I'm just going to put a lot of glue on the inside like this. And then fold it down. And when I'm doing this side, I do like to use my boning tool. So let me grab it. This right here. And I just like to press down. I want to hit all the corners, all the edges, and I'm spreading the glue around. I'm making sure that everything is coming into contact with each other and for it to glue and stay down. I just feel like it gives me a really strong hold. And look at that. That's like perfect. All right, so keep going all the way around. get glue all the way into the corners so that your paper is going down nice and perfect the way it's supposed to. So I'm just going to keep doing this and we're going to go all the way around. I don't know if you guys noticed, but my first Glowforge project was also softball theme. I know, I can't get enough of it. My daughter's so excited too when she saw it. Um, and I can't wait to show you the party favor box, the Gable box, because we put her picture in there. And like when you play those in those softball leagues, baseball leagues, there's always the team pictures and stuff like that. So there's a space for that, or just for confetti or sprinkles or whatever you want to do. There's just so many options. And I love that you have the SVG file so that you can do things like contour out that hole or use that little window for sprinkles and whatever else. Okay, so let me keep going. Let me know how you guys are doing, if you need me to slow down or not. Unlikely, because I'm a slow crafter when I'm talking and crafting. So all right, we're almost there. I mean, this box is so pretty, right? I don't know. It feels silly to say that just a little box like this can be pretty, but when it's nice and clean, I love it. Okay, and the last one. And you see with Barely Art Glue, it only takes a couple of seconds and it's dry. So look at that. I mean, that's very, very nice and clean with the glue. Okay, so we've got our bottom done. Let's put together our top. So what I like to do with this is I'm going to have to really move this to the edge for you guys to see how I do this. Okay, so here's the edge of my desk, right? I just run it through like this. And because I'm using the edge of my desk, I feel like it all gets kind of like that same bend, right? So I'm just going to do this. I'm lining it up so that it doesn't matter whether you do it this way or this way. It depends on how you cut it, right? But because it's white on both sides, I mean, technically you could do it either way. But I'm just going to roll this. Okay, then I'm going to move this back up. So I don't want you seeing that part of it. Okay, let's make sure everything is good again. All right. There are cut lines on this as well. So you just want to bend and fold everything. And these tabbies as well. Okay, so the way that I do it is, it's supposed to fold like this, and you're supposed to get this round shape from cardstock, right? It's super easy to do. I do like to do maybe like half the tabs. So I'm going to do 3 tabs at a time, hold it, and then work with the 3. I feel like if I do all 6 at one time, it's too much to make sure that it's connected and it's rounded. So I'm just going to do 3 at a time. With 3, I can focus on it and make sure that it's good. So put glue on the 3 tabs, the 3 lower tabs. Bring this over and just line it up. And also know that, yes, you can see this, and I'm holding it from the inside where the tabs are. to make sure that it's got the right contact. It's, drying where it's supposed to. Just know that when we add the other pieces to it, we add the number with the cake topper. No one's looking at, how precise and perfect this is, but I will say it will look pretty good. Okay, so that's down. And then now I'm just going to add my glue to the top 3 tabs. And now I'm going to, work, and I only have to worry about those 3 tabs. I've got my fingers on the inside, making sure that it's drying where it's supposed to. And then from the top side, I just want to make sure that it's lined up. So pretty good, right? We're moving on. Let's finish this tab out. So again, do the bottom 3. Oops. I started to add glue to the 4th one, but that's okay. And my hands are, I would say on the short side. So I can't reach in. So that's another reason why I do like to do 3 at a time. Like it's hard for me to get to the pieces that I need to. Okay. Then we can do, I forgot how I did it the first time. I've done a few hats. One time I connected it first. Another time I connected it last. Let's fold this one. So I know we still have the top part up here, but I do like to give us some options to like fix things. So let's just keep that the way it is, and let's move on to this guy. And Nicole, if you're on, I would love, like, when you're doing so many hats at a time, like you end up realizing what works best for you. If you're on, let us know like your findings on this. Like, what order did you like to do it in? And I think Mercedes, you said you loved how yours came out as well. Let us know. Type in your comments and tell us how you felt about the whole project. All right, I am going to right now connect the 2. So this side has a connector, this side has a connector. You never connect with connect. It always is a connector tab to a non-connecting piece, okay? And that's the way Kayla always designs her files. I know, I think that that's the standard, but just so you know, that's the way our files are always going to be, because that's the way Kayla does it, and Kayla does my files. All right, so let's get this down first. Let's get this the connecting tabs, line up everything. And when I'm doing something flat like that, I also like to just fold it this way, make sure that it's good and lined up. Hi, Diana. So nice to see you on here. Okay, so we've got that down. Let's see. Should we do this side? It would probably be easier to do this side right now. So let's also connect this one. So on this one, we're putting the glue on this one on the tab. And we're going to line everything up. And there are a few things, like kind of clues. I always say that these are clues when you're doing cardstock projects like this. So I'm lining it up here and then lining it up over here as well. And they should all have a similar curve, because we curved it at the same place, like against the desk. All right, so that's down. We've got like the whole piece. And so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. It's going to look like this. And see how it gives its shape. And I am using, oh, I'm so sorry, Diana. I know there was just like the way we were doing the lives. Her comment is that she was waiting for this live to pop up on Instagram. So this was even deviating from what I originally was going to do. It was not supposed to go live on YouTube and Facebook, although I kind of like being able to open it up to other people to see it. And then they can, if they like it, they can come and get the files. Okay, so let's start going around. I'm going to do, like let's do the bottom 3 on each one of these. So let's go and do, and remember when you're doing this, you want to line it up. It's going to start, this is going to be the more difficult part because it's the curve. And as you're like my hands, like I said, I know my hands are small because when I used to take piano lessons, I could barely hit a full octave. And so my teacher said, my hands are small. So I'm like barely able to reach on the inside, but I have enough pressure pushing up against the hat on the tabs so that I'm hoping that it will dry, strong enough there before I move on. Okay. And then I'm going to tuck that tab in. And I'm just going to hold it a little bit longer because I can see it's like it wants to pop out. So, all right. And that's going to need a little bit more glue on that third tab. See how it's still popping out? It should be all 3, but I couldn't reach it right now. But we can move on. Let's do, you know what? For me, I'm going to do 2 tabs right now. I want to make sure my 2 tabs are really tight and good and dried. So I'm going to do the 2 tabs. And even with the 2 tabs, I'm struggling. Okay. Nicole says, I did mine exactly how you started. It was easier than trying to connect them all. Yeah. I tried that after 5 and it was not as easy for me. Oh, but Nicole, you did an amazing job. All right, let's see. LS. I have a different hat file I use, but I'm interested in using yours to see differences. I too do prefer Barely Art for gluing my hats. You also do learn how you prefer to work the file with each hat, though. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, um, what works for me might not work for you. And so like, and especially like once you get in a groove and you start doing them, you'll find out like, how you like to approach things. LS, I would love to get your comments on what you think about the files. I know that Kayla and I, whenever we work together, we are always, there's a lot of trial and error, and we go back and forth. She makes it, she proofs it, sends it over to me when she thinks it's ready, and then I do it and I'm like, well, I would like to make some changes. Like for instance, one of the funny changes that you may not even notice is where this little cutout is. When we did that, I was like, you know what, if we made the cutout another place, I think it would look better overall because it can hide certain angles. And so we really um we we try really hard to give you the best files, and with the tutorials. So we do. I promise we do. All right. So I'm on my last bottom set of tabs. So you can see the top is still all very open, but I want to get to this one. So I'm going to do the 2 again on this one. And we're not that far away from finishing this project. All right, so I see this is when it starts to get a little bit difficult for me because it's so hard for my hands to fit in there. But so I'm kind of curling it, bending it, making sure that it's curved in the right place. The glue is where it should be and the tabs are where they are. But it's definitely a little bit harder for my hands to go around. And we also made this hat a little bit smaller. So it gave us little room to get in there. Most hats that people make, and I'll show you as soon as this is dry, I'll bring it back. Okay. See how small this is? Like my hands cover it. Most hats that I see are much bigger. Look at that. But because this would be ginormous on a cake, right? I shrunk everything down. And so like, and this might, this one might be a good size too, just for like, if you're going to fill it with party favors, you might not want to fill, 15 of these with stuff. But look at how cute that is. I love it. Okay, let's finish this up. So from here, I kind of, at this point, because you have your general shape, you have your general dome shape, this is good. It's a solid start. The rest of it is going to be minor. And also when we get up here, we know we're going to put a straw through it. So that will hide some of your gaps if you have gaps. I ended up on mine. I'm going to show you at an angle so you can kind of see this. I didn't put a little circle on there. You can either slice out a little circle so that your straw goes through, or if you don't do a straw, you can just kind of like hide everything up here. All right, so let's start gluing some of these pieces together. I'm going to flip it from the inside like this so that I can kind of see it. I'm going to add glue, and then I'm going to kind of like push it together this way. So I'm going to add my glue here. And I'm going to lay it down kind of flat. And because I know where the tabs, like I know the end of the tabs, so I'm going to just lay it down like this and stick my hand in like that. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Nicole, I have used 3 other hat files, and I promise you all this. This is the easiest hat file. You will not be disappointed. Yay, thank you for that, Nicole. Okay, Anisha, let's see. You show 2 different sizes of hat. The size of the file hat is supposed to be used as a cake topper, but what's the size for the bigger hat? So, you know, there is no set size for hats, but I will tell you the size of this hat is it's 9 inches long. So you can kind of like measure out and see what you like, but that's you can add it up in design space. You can kind of like measure it out, but this is 9 inches long. And this one, when it's all said and done, let me put this down and see how. This one is going to be just short of 7 inches. It's like 6 3/4. Okay. All right. Let's go and finish the rest of this. And then the rest is going to be like so easy once you finish this. All right. I'm going to flip the tabs up so that I can reach it and put glue. You can also, with this, I mean, it reaches in and you can reach all your tabs. You can also put a little bit of glue on the tab that it's going to sit on, if that makes sense, or on the panel that it's going to sit on. But so I'm just going to hold it down like this, let it dry. But this was the easiest way for me to do it. And you can see that dries pretty quickly. And there you have like really nice. It's just very clean. Okay, so let's finish this out. And I am at this point for those, for the panels where I only did 2 tabs first, I am now doing all 4 tabs at one time. Although I might regret it on this one. This one just feels like it's a stronger, and you can see I haven't quite made contact yet. And so using Barely Art glue makes it a lot easier for me to still make those adjustments and not have it dry out yet. All right, you know what? On this one, of course, on this one is the one where I say, oh, I do all 4. I'm only doing 2 because it's like fighting me on the last 2. So I'm just going to do the 2. And then once that's dry, the 4 is dried, then to do the last 2, it's much easier. So, hi, Maria. We are making this adorable cake topper. And if you need the file, it's on, you can see the little banner running through at the bottom. It's at theuselesscrafter.com. All the files for this workshop, and you can still get that. Okay. And you can see we're almost there. We got to just close this out a little bit more. But it closes pretty, I mean, it's pretty good because it's so solid right now. All right, I'm going to do the next panel. I'm also going to do 2 again, just so that I can get a really clean hat. And it's so funny. This is for this workshop. It was the first time that I've done a baseball hat. I've always seen people do it, but I never had the opportunity to do it. So it was a lot of fun. Okay, I'm doing the last two on that one. I feel like it needs to be pushed in a little bit more. And I've said this before, but I love doing this whole theme because a lot of times before I would just do, if I had a baseball theme, which I never have, but if I did, it would be like one cake topper. And then I would move on to next week. I would do something different. So it's with these workshops, it's kind of nice to do a whole set of projects and stay on theme, but not be so repetitive. Like it's definitely a fun creative challenge for me. But the end result is that you guys get a full, a full party pack that's ready to go. So it makes me, it makes us feel good in many ways, being able to be creative, but then also have something that you guys can use. All right, we're almost there. Now, I will say I have one more panel that still has 4 tabs left, but I'm going to flip this over so that you can see what it looks like at this point. Like you almost don't even need to close it because you know your straw is going to go through. And so it's going to look like, it looks so good, right? Like sometimes I look at these projects and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's paper. It's so cool what we can do with paper. So cool as an adult too. Like as kids you make things and you don't even realize like how good your life is, right? Before you become an adult and like have responsibilities and try to make money and all that good stuff. Okay, this last panel I will say it was super easy. It's already all there. We're just adding glue and we are look at that. So good. And keep in mind, okay, um, this file is so easy to use because you're watching me do it, but I'm not even crafting the way I normally would craft because I'm making sure that it's on camera. I'm at a different angle than I'm used to. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at this and you're like, oh, wait, did she like, she missed something. I totally do miss things. And sometimes it doesn't totally line up because this isn't normally how I would craft. So just in case, so I wanted to point out like how much easier it will be for you in your craft room. So now, Diana, I am using all cardstock from 12 by 12 cardstock shop. This is all basil. And if you purchase the files or you purchase the workshop, it comes with the files, it comes with the tutorials for replay, and it also comes with my exact supply list. So if you wanted to do it exactly the way I'm doing it, you can, or you can go and be as creative as you want. So very similar to the bottom, the base of this box, we're now folding in and gluing all the tabs. It's just going to give you stability for your hat. So now we're just going to go around. And we just, I mean, I know it's been an hour, but technically not because the first few minutes we were, gathering and we were having technical issues. So we're like almost done. Once this is done, we're just going to decorate it, which is just gluing on a few more things. I mean, I think we should be done with this in less than 30 minutes. So if you're kind of wondering like what that time frame is for this type of project. Now that's for like one. And I will say the last time I did this was in early June. So, I'm not cranking these out. I would say that like if you were doing multiples, I would do everything step by step all at one time. So like fold everything, do the first set of tabs for all of them. And then that way you're not finishing one hat at a time. You're finishing each step at a time for all the hats. You'll get into a rhythm and you'll be very fast at it. And like the base of the hat of the party favor, I am glue, making contact with the glue, and then but you can see it pops up. So I want to, at this point, use my boning tool and push down and just kind of, I'm spreading the glue around to make sure that it hits every square inch of the paper and that the paper, the top and bottom layers are all like getting that smushy glue all around and also getting the pressure so that it stays down and it dries, stayed down. Okay, we're almost there. And if you have made these and you haven't sent me pictures, please send me pictures. I love to see these projects. I know Kayla and I get a total kick out of seeing it. Um, and I like to see both. I like to see projects that look just like mine. And I also love to see projects that don't look anything like mine. I love being I get inspired when I see your projects as well. But also just for us to be in a little part of your life is enough. So whether it's just like you want to do something baseball because you saw us do it or you used our file, that's like plenty. I just love being a part of the journey. I truly do. So, all right, we're at the last one. And so it's really sturdy. You can see what it looks like. Okay. And I guess the real test right now is the last few times I did it, we were testing it. So there it is. Yay! So there's the box. And you can kind of stick your hand in here to get the box down to pull it off. It just depends on how tight you do everything, but let me pull this up. I'm getting a grip on it to use it as a party favor. There we go. So you can put things in. You could use it as cake topper or as just a base. So cute, right? Nicole, I know. Yes, I'm like, whew. I can rest now. Okay, so let's put this down. So, oh, I'm like, wait, why isn't this working? I have it flipped around. Okay, for this, what I do like to do with this part though is I'm gonna take this apart in a second. Okay, this lines up perfectly. I do, for this part, I do like to use a hot glue gun. So what I do is it lines up. It's super easy. This might sound weird, but I'm going to line a little bit of, I'm using both glue. This will just make sure everything's down. And then I'm going to do my glue. You can tell, right? I'm like a nervous Nelly. I'm like super paranoid. I'm also like super punctual because I factor in like, oh, well, it's not just like I have to take the freeway and it might be busy, but what if there's an accident? So that's just the kind of person that I am. I'm always early. And if I'm late, I'm on time. All right, so that's down. This is down. I'm going to put this down here. And let's work through the decorative piece. Now we're just putting down all the fun pieces. So we've got the bill, the hat, and you can see like mine, not all my pieces came out. So I'm going to just gonna poke through. How are you guys doing? Let's see. Oh, yay, Kayla. Kayla's on. I don't know if she's been on the whole time, but Kayla, I don't know. Oh, you must be. Are you saying yes to to her comment about this being the best hat file? She's tried multiple. So I don't know if you caught all of that, but I was just telling everybody that you test out the file, and then when you think you're ready, you send it to me. And even then, I test out the file, and then oh, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to glue this little piece down. And on this one, I'm just going to glue on the inside. I'm not worried that the edge doesn't get glue. or just a little bit if you want to. This little guy is not going anywhere. You know what I mean? So on this one, I'm going to lift that up, tuck it in. There we go. Oops, move that out. Oh my gosh, so stinking cute already. I love it. Okay, same thing with the orange pieces. My Cricut did not come out. It's like hanging on in little areas. So I'm not going to do all of them. I'm going to do one panel so that you can see it, because that's not important. Once you get one, you've got all of them down. And that way you don't have to watch me poke out these little holes. You all should try making a football theme workshop. Oh my gosh, you know what? Oh, we've already got the rest of the year planned out. So it would be so difficult to get it in for this season, but I don't know. Kayla, what do you think? We could do, maybe we could do one for Super Bowl, and then it would be good for the Super Bowl party and for next year. We'll see. We'll see what we could do. I have a question for the mommies that are on here. If your kid plays flag football, for instance, how long does that season run for little kids? I mean, I know for high school and college, it obviously follows the same schedule as professional, but the NFL. Okay, so same thing with this piece. I'm going to, all right, I don't want to move my camera one more time, but I'm taking it to the edge of my desk and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a bend. Or, and you see how like it just, right? Or you can take this. This paper is, like I said, it's basil, so it won't show the crease if you do it lightly. But I mean, look at that. It's paper. It's so crazy. I always am still amazed. Like I love working with paper. Okay. So on this one, same. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's so perfect. Okay, we're gonna put glue down. And I'm just going to run the glue on the edges. And I want to lift this up because I want to get a good eye on it. And on this, because it's curved too, I'm just running my fingers through because it, you know, in these precious 3 seconds, this is when it's drying. So I just want to make sure it dries flat, and you can see it totally dries flat. Look at that angle. It's paper. I love it. Butterfly Girl. There's a little banner running through. It's on my website, theuselesscrafter.com. It comes with all the files for the workshop. So you got to purchase the workshop. Okay, so we're done with that. So that's what you're going to do for all the way around. You know, I did 2 different colors for the, for the little hat piece in the back that goes right here. But let's do the number 3. And then I'm going to show you how to do the little straw through here. So let's do the number 3 first. So here it is. I did do an offset. Like I said, I was very inspired by Nicole's recent project. So I took in the black and I kind of did the black and the white exactly how she did it. I only swapped out the orange for her turquoise. So love it. I love it. Okay, so this is what it's gonna, right? Oh, wait, sorry, there. Look at how good that is. Oh my gosh. And it's so funny because, okay, so let me show this and compare it to this one. Like it went girly to baseball very quickly, right? So the color of the softball, I think, changes it a little bit more black, right? I mean, we could have black on here too, and it would still be fine. I did have some black, but I feel like when people saw the initial projects, like it was obviously it was geared towards girl. I went with this whole color scheme and did, the softball, and just now to show you all of these, right? Um, I love this one. I love the one that we did with the one that I posted. I can't remember the colors at this point. And then with Nicole's, when she came in with that turquoise and the black, it was just so cool. All right, so we've got all that. We're layering the number 3, so let's do that. The number 3 here, again, you can easily put foam tape on this, but I just the idea of making sure it doesn't show and all of that, I'm going to do this one flat. So then the number 3 is going to be flat, but I did 2 copies of the black so that I can at that point add the cubies and give it that depth that we all have come to love. What did we do before foamies? Because when I first started crafting, we were not foaming up every little piece. I love how like it just continues to change, um and we continue to get more creative. That is super cool. All right, I would have loved to have done one more layer and to add a little bit of white. The only reason why I didn't was I forgot to do the number, and I had already cut my white, and I was unwilling to go back and cut a little bit of white. So that's what happened right there. Okay, I'm going to take out my cubies and do it on the back here. And I want to hear how you guys added the top of your cake topper. Because I'm going to tell you how I did mine. I used some glue at the bottom and the top, and it stayed put like you saw mine. But I'm curious how you guys did yours. And I just assumed that I wasn't using it as a party favor box. I purely used it as a cake topper. All right, so that's on. And you know what? See, I went too far to the edge on that one, and I can see the white foam. Okay, I'm gonna do one more layer, and I'm like so unhappy with this one right now. Hold on. I'm gonna smush it in so that you can't really see it. You can really see that. It's bothering me. I'm just gonna peel it off right there. You don't need a cubie right there. All right, I'm gonna put it here and remove this one. And sometimes when I'm not going to the edge, I will use my hot glue gun to make sure that it's going to stay put. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do on this one. So I'm going to lift this up. And put that number 3 there. So good. All right, I'm going to run hot glue. Lift this up. Eyeball it. And with the hot glue, it will make some movement. So just hold on to it while it's drying. Oh my God. I love this so much. Okay. Now with this, so I do need to get rid of the bottom of my stick. So hold on. I'm like bending it right now. All my tools, I was using it to film something else. So you know what? I can't even pull this one out. I know. This is not the way I would recommend you do. Oh, there, finally snapped. Okay. So what I did was I tucked this down. So I'm going to maybe just use this. And kind of fold it in a little bit, but not too much. Okay. And then this bottom is going to go in, and I did put glue at the bottom so that it stayed put. But you see, like, this isn't moving that much. So if you didn't do that at this point, oh no, it did. Okay, it does tip over. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put hot glue on the bottom of my thing. Okay. And as it's going down, I went right down the middle. And I'm just going to hold it like this while it's drying. All right, let's see what Nicole did. I used the circle and sliced a 0.25 circle the same width of the straws from Amazon. And with the circle glued on top, it really stabilized the straw. Okay, yeah, that's a good tip. So what I did with this, the pink one, was when I was done, when I felt like the bottom dried a little bit, I also then pushed this down a little bit and added glue right here. So again, it's a little bit different because I'm not planning on using this as a party favor box. This was purely a cake topper for me. And I'm going to just let this dry. So I'm going to move this aside for a minute. And that's still stable. And I'm going to show you this one. Like this one, you see, like it's not moving at all. I'm trying to move it and it's not. It's super stable. I've done this. This one is since June. And you can see like I'm holding it by the straw even. Oh my gosh, I love it. I hope you guys loved it as well. I'm going to just let this dry and then I'll flip it up because it would make me cry if it like got ruined right now. And actually what I'll do is I'll flip this and I'll pick them both up and then you see my whole setup. Okay. And then what I would do is if you wanted to hide this, maybe what you could do is you can slice out a little hole right here and put it over and like cut a little wedge right here for it to like kind of like the little plastic bread clip thing that comes with when you buy like white bread, something like that, so that it goes in and it can hide that area. It personally does not bother me. So when I go through, I'm going to put all my orange wedges on there. And okay, I think it's dry. Okay, so granted, we still need to do, I need to do the rest of the orange, but we've got this one, and let me hold this one up. Oh. So cute, right? I love it so much. I hope you guys love it too. I mean, this is, okay, can I just, my little soapbox right now. I love changing up cake toppers or just love changing up crafts, right? Like with cake toppers, I felt like when I first came onto the scene, everyone was just doing the words happy birthday and, with the offset. So it was just kind of like more rectangular. And then we started adding like the number and like more stuff. And then it started to get more circular. And then it seemed like every cake topper was the shape of a circle. And so I love that this is totally different. And I feel like same thing with these straws. I know everyone, with the Glowforge Aura and stuff, everyone's upset that we can't cut clear acrylic cake topper sticks. I don't know, like maybe we don't even do that. What if I cut in black for this one, something here, and maybe something that has engraving on it, like the little stripes, like or I don't know, or the birthday boy's name or whatever. It Cake topper sticks don't need to be clear. One, two, if you really want it clear, you can get it on Amazon. I don't know. Let's be creative and like do more fun stuff. Do stuff that we don't need, right? Continue with this useless trend. Make things we don't need, but we just can't live without because they're just beautiful and we need it in our lives. So, all right. Thank you so much for joining today. Remember the files. If you are not members of Pitch Perfect, you can get the files at theuselesscrafter.com. Tomorrow, same time. I'm not sure how we're going to do this. It may just well be exactly like this, where we're always going to stream on Facebook and on YouTube. We will let you know. We'll send out an email, and I apologize that it's not set, but StreamYard changed things up a little bit, and we didn't realize until today as we were going live. So So for those that are watching, who are members and want to see tomorrow, I believe both. No, tomorrow's just Jen. Jen's gonna be on, and we're gonna. She's, Jen's gonna do something different. So here's this one again, and obviously this is not done, but I love it. Thanks, guys, for joining. Thank you for pushing us to be like creative and make these things. I will see you guys next time. Bye.